we're going to begin by first hearing from Iman Aoun.
Hello, old and new friends of Ashtar Theater and Palestine. I would like to thank you all for being with us on this call. I am Iman Aoun, co-founder of Ashtar Theater, creator of the Gaza Monologues. When we did the Gaza Monologues back in 2010, we thought that that would be the first and last war on our people in Gaza. But alas, it did not work out. Therefore, there was another war, and another, and another, and it continued on and on and on for the last 17 years. At the moment, with all that you have seen in the media and all that you have done in your countries, in your cities, still nothing on the ground is being changed. We, as a small company in Palestine, we're trying to keep the voice of the people of Palestine and of the people of Gaza heard. And therefore, we are calling upon you that these monologues, they do not only go into your hearts and minds, but that these monologues will become a paveway for a real change, a real pressure on your governments to take action that will bring justice and long-lasting solution for a sovereign state for Palestine, that the world will all agree to have and will all recognize the state of Palestine. Because through peace and with peace, we can all live as regular people. Thank you. Thank you for being with us on this call. And we are all together to save our humanity.
Calling Up Justice is producing the Gaza Monologues in the spirit of cross-movement solidarity, ensemble, and abolition. Through cross-movement solidarity, we create a united front. And this isn't just about cross-movement solidarity, because disabled artists and organizers understand that we share the struggles of the Palestinian people. In Gaza, the Israeli bombardment and blockades are creating a mass disabling event, whether it be by forced displacement, surviving continuous air raids, having loved ones and entire families murdered and missing, and so much more. The colossal rates of individual and collective trauma create all types of disabilities, ranging from mobility, psychiatric, sensory, chronic illness, and so much more. Due to the Israeli government's destruction of Gaza, including constant attacks to critical hospitals and medical centers, all disabled people, including those newly disabled who survive, have limited to no access to needed life-saving and life-sustaining care. This is a direct quote from the CRIP call to action. That language I just said to you was written by a disabled Jewish person who is here for the cause. This is only possible because of all of us coming together. Iman Aoun collaborated with Calling Up Justice. Iman Aoun is the executive director of Ashtar Theater in Palestine, Ramallah, Palestine. And they collaborated with us in 2021 for our Black Lives Matter Every 28 Hours Plays project, where we were reflecting on a play that was about Palestinian activists coming to Ferguson to help us fight racial injustice where we are. The Gaza Monologues, they were written by Ashtar youth in 2010. After the first war in the Gaza Strip. Since October 2010, more than 2,000 youth from around the globe in more than 80 cities in 40 countries have presented the monologues that are translated and presented into 18 languages. And we are among many different productions producing this reading on the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. This is a collaborative performance that is embracing the idea of diversity and ensemble by having multiple people embrace and embody one person. So this is collaborative, and this was also rapid response. This process was about immediate encounter and working within the constraints of capitalism and crip time. So our colleagues had an hour, and they were given the monologues. They were given the monologues in the last hour, and they staged them in real time. We do this in the spirit of abolition. And I'm quoting from Cripping Abolition right now, the Cripping Abolition website. Abolition is not limited to ending spaces and practices of incarceration and policing. Fundamentally, abolition is about reimagining new ways of life, such that a world in which prisons, policing, and other carceral systems as solutions to social problems become unthinkable. Abolition is not just about creating new responses to crises, but creating a new world in which we thrive, such that less crises happen in the first place. What we are doing right now is an exercise in radical empathy and is an exercise in abolition.
Rawan Jaror, born 1997, Al-Daraj. Relax, girls. Don't be scared. This is just the sound of aimless shooting. That's what our teacher said as soon as the bombing started. After a while, her mobile phone rang and she spoke a few words only. 120 martyrs? She smashed her mobile into the floor and told us, "Go home, all of you." As soon as we went out into the yard, we saw our parents, some of them in pajamas, in their undershirts, and some barefoot. We were very scared. My two sisters and I kept waiting for Dad, but he was really late. So we decided to go home by ourselves, even though it's a long way. On the way, I saw something for the very first time. A martyr being carried on a coffin wrapped in the flag of Palestine, with banners around him and people crying. But the weird thing is that the funeral barely had 30 people in it. Funerals of martyrs usually have thousands. Then I felt that there was really some big catastrophe going on in the country. I got scared for Dad. I didn't want him to come get us because I was scared he'd be hit by a rocket. I was also scared of dying, and I didn't want to die now because it would be a catastrophe if I died and no one came to my funeral. I started running home, and people were running around us like it was doomsday. No one knew where they were going because the sound of rockets didn't stop. Every few seconds, a rocket would fall and shake the ground. I felt that the streets were not the same streets, nor were the people the same people. Strange sights, sounds, and smells. After the war, a lot of things changed inside me. I started hating going to the bathroom. From the second I go in, I can't wait to come running out, because all the time in the war, I was afraid they'd hit a rocket on our house when I'm in the bathroom, and there one would be in great focus, and you know the rest. I also started hating the morning line at school. When the war started, I was in the line. That's why today I feel that the minutes in the line are hours of fear and worry. All school for me is one pile, and the line is another. I started having terrifying dreams. All night I have a conflict within myself between desire to sleep and fear of nightmares. Sleep became a monster hiding behind my eyelids. I stay like that till morning. I don't know when I slept and when I woke up. I want to become an actress. And this is a hard dream to fulfill in Gaza, especially for girls. I tell myself it's a shame for people in Gaza to be deprived of my talent because I could become an important actress. But if they don't want me, to hell with them. I'll go to any country and act there. Gazans are deprived of everything anyway. It doesn't stop at theater. Sometimes I think people in Gaza can barely find food. How are they going to go to the theater? You know, I wish I could live in a civil, democratic society with peace and 20 cinemas and keep watching movies and flying in my imagination and dreaming.
Rima Fana, born 1996, Asaf Street. When I was young, I used to feel that I was the happiest child in the world. But the more I grow and my mind grows, the more my worry grows because I start to understand things that I did not. I start to know the meaning of a deprived child. The thing that upsets me and makes me cry the most are children's tears. All children in the world, regardless of their nationality, religion, or color. When I grow up, I want to be a pediatrician. And that's the hope that gives me a big push in life. Even though I'm fed up, bored, and sad because Gaza doesn't have a life anymore. Yesterday, I was sitting in school and I heard the sound of planes. I got really scared. I wanted to run away from school. I felt I was going to die because I remembered the war. The scenes of war won't leave my mind. On the third day of the war, my family was sitting together, talking about what was happening in the war, and my grandmother was reassuring us so we wouldn't be scared. We were actually calmed, even though the sound of rockets didn't stop. But my grandmother's warm voice was calming us. The phone rang. The lines never caught in the war. So when we heard the sound of the phone, we were happy. Hello? Yes? This is the Israeli Defense Army. You have 5 minutes to clear the house. It's for your own benefit. We have warned you. I couldn't stand on my legs anymore. Everyone in the house started yelling. My grandmother was the first one to run away. It was the first time I'd seen her going so fast. My dad held me and my sisters and told us not to be scared. He was pulling me to leave, but I was going to die if I didn't take my teddy bear with me. I felt that I would betray him if I left him under the bombing. I escaped from my dad's hands and ran to my bear, took him in my arms and left. We all got far away from the house and sat down to wait for the 5 minutes. They were the longest 5 minutes in history. They became 10. We felt like they were years that passed. I was in a whirlwind. Thoughts and dreams were thrashing about in my head and the world was spinning. I felt that the dream of being a doctor was very, very far away. I held the bear and remembered myself when I was small, how I was always laughing. I want to go back to being small and stay small. I don't want to grow up. But the only thing that comforted me was the love of people who didn't leave us for one moment. Gaza is full of love.
Reem Al-Sadi, born 1995, Ash Sheikh Radwan. I was 9 years old when we returned from the Emirates. It was the first time I visit Gaza. The car was moving along the street and I was looking out from the window. I didn't like anything in the city. When we stood at a traffic light, a lot of kids came to the car begging, selling gum and biscuits. Then I hated myself and wanted to go back to the Emirates. Since then, I have lived in Gaza and will not leave it, even if they give me a choice between it and Paris, because I discovered that the love inside it is enough for the whole world and that places are in their people, not in their buildings or views. Mom always talked to me about Gaza when we were in the Emirates. I liked it before I saw it, but once I lived in it, I liked it more. It has details that Mom didn't see, but it's such a pity. All it needs is safety to be the most beautiful city in the world. In the war, the Taqwa Mosque and the Noor Mosque were bombed, and after that, the house of Abu al-Qari. And the Abu al-Qari's house is our topic. They're our neighbors, and the Israeli Secret Services threatened them with bombing. People told us to live on the bottom floor. It's safer, so when they bomb the Abu al-Qari house, it won't hit us. We went down to the first floor and waited for the army to bomb Abu al-Qari's house, but they bombed the Noor Mosque instead. All its windows, doors, and stones flew on us while we were in our apartment, and I was very injured. All the doors fell on my head. Of course, there was screaming and the house was a total mess. The next day we had a family meeting and decided to go back to the upper flat. And we did. We moved to the top floor. But this time they hit the Taqwa Mosque and all the glass and stones flew on us in the top floor. So we decided to go down to the bottom floor because it's safer. And we sat and waited for the army to bomb the Abu al-Qare's house. And that night, they really did. They threw the first rocket, then the second rocket, but it didn't explode. And if they threw another rocket and hit the one which didn't explode, the whole neighborhood would have been wiped out and people would have said, here was Abu al-Qare's neighborhood.
Samiel Jerdawi, born 1994 at Tufa. The hour that I hate most in the day is 12 noon. Every time the exams start, I feel that the war will start again. I can't answer any of the exam questions, and thoughts keep floating around in my head till I'm sick of them. I ask myself, is what's happening to me normal or am I sick? People say the Sea of Gaza washes all pains, but my pain is bigger than the sea. Because the last time I was at the sea, I was with my friend. We swam, we played, and had fun. But now I can't go to the sea anymore. The Talatini Street is near the petrol station, and petrol was dear to people and expensive. It was a big deal to have a liter of petrol. There was a war going on, and people were afraid to buy anything. My dad sent me to buy petrol. After I bought it, I went to the house of my friend Zaki, who lives near the station. I was missing him a lot and hadn't seen him for days, for more than 10 days.
I got to his house and I was in a hurry because my dad wanted me to return quickly with the petrol. I went inside their house without knocking the door. His mom considers me like her son, and me too. I said hello to her and to my friend, hugged him and kissed him, said hello to his brothers and quickly left. When there were 20 meters between me and their house, I heard the loud sound of a plane, and after that, the sound of a rocket falling on my friend's house. People started screaming that the house was bombed. I couldn't believe it. I looked back at my friend's house and saw fire and smoke coming out of it. I'd never seen anything like that. I went running back to our house. When I got there, my dad told me, your friend died. No, he didn't. Everyone started telling me your friend Zaki died, and I didn't believe them. That's why I didn't go to the funeral or the hospital or the cemetery, because Zaki did not die.
I always talk to him at night. Well, not exactly to him, to his photo. I'm very upset with him because he doesn't come visit me, and I also stopped visiting him at home. I'm sure he's not dead, and for sure there will come a day when we meet. Then I'll blame him because I miss him so much. I have another friend living in Russia. He always tells me about Russia and the freedom and safety that he lives in. I feel that I'm not living. I start wishing that I would dive in the sea and keep diving and diving till I come out and find myself in Russia.
We were only able to pull this off in a very quick turnaround, rapid response because our disability theater community said yes right away. Our theater community said yes right away. HowlRound offered support immediately. The Curiosity Paradox signed up immediately. So just thank you. Thank you to Kiana. Thank you to Jasenia. Thank you to One Free Community. Thank you for your work. And thank you so much to Ghostlight Interpreting for offering ASL support. The choices that you just witnessed, those were the choices of the brilliant human beings who volunteered to join us on a moment's notice to stand up for Palestinian lives. Inside the chat on HowlRound are listed all of the other productions that are taking place across the world. So just know that you are aligned and in collaboration with so many people speaking these truths today. I was so incredibly moved by the creative choices that y'all made. And I really feel like this production embodies the elements of disability justice and the idea that we are all one. We're going to be dropping some next steps, action steps into the chat, and we are wishing you the best. Please keep working for justice. Thank you so much for joining us. This will be a recording on HowlRound, so you can share this recording. You can do watch parties in the future. But thank you for joining us on Wednesday, November 29th, 2023. For International Solidarity with Palestinians. I'm going to invite everybody to turn on their cameras for our final moment as we say goodbye to everyone. So if you want to turn on your cameras, go right ahead. I'm so moved. I did not have a chance to drop all of the links of these amazing human beings. Like, you don't even know how amazing these human beings are. You were all so good. And you all didn't see the chat. The chat here where we were just enthusing to each other. So many wows. That's beautiful. That's so moving. I was sitting here, y'all, so much tissues. So many tissues. Goodbye.